Peace, fam. What is up? It's been a minute, right? Well, last week I definitely did like upload like just this random singing video, but you know, it is what it is. What's good? It's Michael Lee, and this is my blessings and lessons of 2018. Let's start first. Blessings and accomplishments. So my first lesson I want to talk about is getting full-time at work. So in 2017, I started working for a health nonprofit area in Baltimore, and it was part-time. It was my first kind of corporate-y job. I've never had that kind of job before. It was the year after I officially graduated, and I was nervous. I thought I could never be creative, or I would be in just an office all day in stuffy suits and all of these things. But let me tell you how I feel like I fully manifested this job. I Donald Trumped it. I keep telling people this, but I really did Donald Trump this job. I read an article about how women and men tackle jobs differently. When it comes to women, reading the job description, they want to make sure that they can hit every point in the job description, whereas men are more likely to see if they can cover like 3 or 4 of the job description things like confidently, and they'll still apply for the job. Whereas women, we have to hit them all before we do that. I took the men's approach and I got the job on a whim. I felt like it was for me. I did a lot of affirmations and prayers and just kind of already acting as if I had it, and I have it. Fast forward to a year later, a month after my work anniversary, I became full-time, and I felt so grateful because I worked very hard in this position to get where I am, and I learned so much, and I love the fact that I still am creative in this position. I work for a really great organization. I love my coworkers. I love my department. And yeah, it's just everything. And I felt like being full-time, I just got a bonus when it comes to benefits. Okay. So I was very grateful about that as well. So I really like it. I love my job. And I never thought, like, I'm pretty sure 19-year-old Michael would never think that I would get to this space. But it's so great to just even like succumb my fear, or like not succumb into my fear, that's horrible, but like just kind of pushing that aside and doing what I think, you know, I was afraid to get a job like this, and end up being a very great experience for me. So yes, getting full-time is the first one. Next one is running a 5K. Listen, ever since the 4th grade, I hated running. I hated cross-country time when we did the presidential fitness award shit. I hope people don't do that anymore. But anyways, I always used to be second to last at the mile run. So imagine me doing 3.1 miles, right? And I'm pretty sure I am not as fit as I was back then in the 3rd grade, okay? So I did this on a whim. I asked, and I didn't have to do it alone. I asked my good friend Tia to come along with me, and it was our first 5K, and I had such a great time. I think what really made that experience was the finish line. You know what I mean? I didn't care if I was the last or the first, or who was ahead of me, who was behind me. I just wanted to complete it, and when I completed it, I felt the utmost love and support from my friend Tia, and even from strangers. It felt so good, and I did it under an hour. I loved it so much. I felt like I could do anything after I did that, that I'm gonna do it again in 2019, so be on the lookout for that. The next thing I am so grateful for is having a summer solstice party. So bad. For the past 2 or 3 years, I've seen myself hosting a party in the summer where I basically show my token of appreciation to my friends and the people that are in my life that really made a huge difference in it. And I wanted it to be extravagant. I wanted it to be outside. I wanted all of us to wear white just to introduce the new season of summer, right? It didn't go quite like that, you know what I'm saying? But I think it was basically a now or never situation. Life is never going to be perfect. Events are never going to be perfect, you know what I mean? So I decided to just do it now instead of keep imagining this like amazing or like, you know, luxurious event. You know, I just did what I did with the money that I had, the things that, the resources that I had, and I had it. And instead of it being like a garden party, it ended up being like a cute picnic with my friends and some people I haven't seen in a long time. And I just felt the amount of love and appreciation. Now, you know, your girl went all out. I made samosas for the first time, different sauces. I made an edible flower salad, a salad with edible flowers, and all down to like the drinks I made. And even though at the end, like the last like 10 minutes of the event, we got rained out, I still had a great time. My friends still had a great time, to the point that some people were like, you should do it again. And that is what I'm gonna do. I'll be hosting more events in 2019. All right. So the next one was traveling to Salt Lake City, Utah. So what was it? In August, I went to Salt Lake City, Utah, actually on a work trip. I went to the Transplant Games of America, which is an organization and like a Olympic style event for people who had organ, eye, and tissue transplant recipients. So they compete in different games and things of that nature. And that was my first work trip. It was really great. I took photos and, you know, just had a dope ass experience. And it was really great. I got to see a new city that I never thought. Actually, I want to go to Salt Lake City, but it was for the Sundance Festival. And Sundance Festival is always in like January, February-ish. But nonetheless, I really appreciate my time. I love how beautiful Utah is. Utah is gorgeous. Have like gorgeous like views wherever you go. You could be walking down the street and you see the mountains, and it's a beautiful scene, and I wouldn't mind going again. But it was a great experience. We're gonna go start talking about traveling now. I traveled to many different places in the summertime. Besides Salt Lake City, I actually also went to Assateague Beach in Maryland, and I went camping on a spontaneous trip. Okay, you don't understand. I have this dope ass friend, and wherever you go with her, it's spectacular. I not only went to Assateague Beach, I went to also a waterfall in Maryland. I camped for the first time. Just took a lot of spontaneous trips with my friends, and it was such a great experience. If you don't know me, I really love water. I love water. I love the beach and things of that nature. So it was very important to me to at least go to a body of water in the summer, and I went to 2 bodies of water in the summer, so I'm very grateful for that. So speaking of traveling and the bodies of water in the summer, last thing traveling wise is I spent another birthday on the beach, but instead of being in the US, I was in Guadeloupe. I visited Guadeloupe for the first time this past November, December-ish for my birthday. And Guadeloupe is like Martinique, like last year, but it's just another section of France and the French Caribbean. What I liked about this trip is that I did everything I wanted to do, and I said I was going to do, and then some, and I got everything I wanted to get, and then some. I visited the museum, Le Memorial Act. I got to practice my French and speak French to a lot of the locals there. I got to go to the beach, tried all these different foods, got all these different spices, and I walked the streets as if I was there, like, you know, like I was a native, and Walked everywhere. I barely took public transportation, and I definitely did not take taxi. It was just such a great experience, just kind of learning the area and the town and trying different foods and drinks, and it was a dope experience. I recommend going to Martinique or Guadeloupe if you can. Like, listen, those are some underrated ass spaces, but they're so beautiful. So I recommend you guys to go and check those countries out. What else? Okay, so the last two is damn. Okay, so the last two is this. Okay, another blessing I'm grateful for is going back to therapy. This fall, I went back to therapy since I became full time. Want to utilize my health insurance benefits and go back to therapy. I started therapy when I was like 15, going to the school counselor in high school, and that was a little bit more consistent. But since I was in college and even life after college, it was definitely inconsistent. And I definitely felt a change and noticed a change when I did go to therapy compared to when I didn't. And I have depression. My depression definitely comes in cycles, and I definitely have anxiety. And I also have binge eating disorder. So all these different mental health issues, and it comes in cycles, and they definitely relate to each other. And when I was in a good space, I would be like, oh, I don't need therapy. Like, I'm not going to look for it. It was some type of fear that was just attached to going back to therapy. I felt like I was too busy. Now I have this job and all these things. But when I was in that bad space, when I was depressed and crying and late night binge eating and being anxious at work and feeling like it was affecting my job, I really wish I had therapy at that moment. So when I came into that good space when it comes to my mental health, I said, no, sis, we're gonna continue and we're gonna actually find a therapist. And I wanted a Black woman therapist. Majority of my therapists that I've seen were Black women except for one, and I wanted to keep it that way. And I found someone that is not just only a dope ass Black woman, but she also took video calls. So majority of my therapy is through video conferences, and it just feels so dope to just be back in therapy, to have somebody who is in my life, but like indirectly in my life, where they're not gonna have a bias, they're gonna listen to me, and really give some good advice and good techniques to handle my depression, to handle all these mental stuff, so I can be more balanced.